Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to call this meeting to order. Today is Tuesday, May 24th, 2022. It's 9 a.m. We're in the Central Jury Room of the Ralph H. Walton Jr. Justice Center at 1200 West Pearl Street in Granbury, Texas. We have today to give us the invocation everybody's favorite pastor, my friend and your friend, the guy that has established the Bible reading here in Hood County that's known internationally, and he's brought very good help today, his beautiful wife Sandy, in case he stutters or anything today. But our Hood County's own illustrious pastor, Pastor Mike McMahon. And for the invocation, please stand.
Well, I tried to get the chairman of the board of the McMahon Corporation to pray, but she said, you go ahead, so I'm going to do that. So pray with me, please. Father, thank you. Thank you for the way you love us, for the way you take care of us, for the way you create opportunity for us. But today, America's hurting. We have pandemics, we've got racial issues, job loss, political division, and on and on and on. They've all caused great suffering. Yet we're called to be salt and light on the earth as Christians, and we can begin healing our land through prayer and action. Let's come together, not just by words, but a faith that produces works. The love and grace of God can begin turning the tide of America. We look to you and to you only, Lord. Help us make wise decisions that move our country in the right direction. Help us to do our part in praying and in staying with what we know is right, according to the truth of your word. Teach us to make our actions count and our words matter, and line them both up to your sense of rightness, not ours. Guide us with your eye, grip us with your strong arm. Teach us what we need to know to make our lives and our nation count for you. And it is in Jesus' precious name that we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Now would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Under the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Well, Pastor McMahon certainly lived up to our expectation, didn't he? That was the best invocation I think I've ever heard. Thank you. I'd like a copy of that, please. Yeah. Thank you. All right, we have some special presentations today. The first one is a special proclamation declaring May 30th a day to honor our fallen heroes. This is very, very important, and we have some very important people in our community, and I asked them if they wanted to read this, and they said, no, they want me to read it. So, but I want them to join me as I read this very special proclamation that has been signed by all of the Commissioners' Court.
You signed that one?
Yes, all of us. Where's the other one? Okay, you got that? Everybody here knows who these people are. They're so instrumental in making our Memorial Park what it is. And these people are so special here. I'm gonna go this way, so I'm gonna not leave out anybody. This is Bob Pennell. God, we don't know who you are, Bob. You just keep doing what Julia tells you to do, and I do, and everything will work smoothly, right? You're the Uber driver. Okay, the Uber driver for Julia Pennell. This is Mickey Allen, who she's done such a wonderful job. Thank you for all you do, too. And then this lady right here, I don't know who this is. She's
I don't have my name tag
up here. This is Faye Landon, really a good lady that helps out in so many different ways. So they want me to read this proclamation. Can y'all all hear me on the back? You good? Okay. This is a proclamation to designate May 30th, 2022 as a day to honor our fallen military heroes. Whereas Memorial Lane was dedicated on July 1st, 2017 as a site to remember and honor all those who serve as a firefighter, law enforcement officer, or military. Within each site is a place to honor those fallen heroes who have given the ultimate sacrifice. And whereas Memorial Day is our nation's solemn reminder that freedom is never free, this day is to reflect on the noble sacrifices of those who gave the last measure of devotion in service of our ideal and in the defense of our nation. And whereas Friends of Memorial Lane has joined together in planning this Memorial Day ceremony to honor and recognize all of our fallen military members on May 30th, 2022 at the Jim Burks Firefighters Memorial Park, located in Granbury, Texas, beginning at 8:30 a.m. And now, therefore, the Hood County Commissioners Court does hereby proclaim May 30th, 2022 as a day to honor our fallen military heroes, and the ceremony for Memorial Day as an avenue for citizens to remember the fallen, pray for lasting peace among nations, and honor the guardians of our inalienable rights. Furthermore, we call our citizens to proudly display Americans' flags at our homes, businesses, and in our community. In doing so, we pledge our nation's allegiance to the great cause of freedom, while also paying homage to those who fought and ultimately died. Signed this 24th day of May, 2022, my signature and the signatures of all the members of the Commissioners Court, and attested to by Katie Lang, our county attorney. This is wonderful, and we have really these people right here to thank for that beautiful memorial park, and it is something that is so special. So please come out on May 30th. Let's do that. So I'm going to hand this to Mickey Allen so you can distribute whatever you want. And this, you want to take a picture? I'm going to be on this end right here. I'm going to be next to Bob, because Bob and I just do whatever these three ladies tell us to do.
Thank you.
Okay. Now I want these same people to stay up here, because this is also a very, very special deal. This is the, I'm going to tell you this. This lady right here, Julia Pennell, she has the best ideas of anybody in the whole world. She had the idea of the 13 soldiers that were killed in the evacuation of Afghanistan to prepare a box for all 13 families to have challenge points, a letter from the mayor, a letter from the county judge, all wonderful things from our county to these families of these fallen heroes, to let them know that their sacrifice is recognized by this county. This was the brainchild of this lady right here, and we all recognize her. She had some good ideas. comes up with this idea. I thought that was the best, and now she's come up with one I think that tops that. You know that President Trump created the Space Force. This lady right here, you can't use the name Space Force, you can't copy the symbol, you can't do anything. That's a very guarded thing. This lady right here wrote whomever, got permission for whomever to use it, and now we're going to have a statue unveiling that, where this is going to be the first memorial park in the nation to have this statue right here in Granbury, Texas. Now, how special is that? It's going to be up there with the other statues for all the other forces, and this is going to be the first one. So we're going to have all the forces of the military, including the new Space Force, and this is the brainchild of Julia Pinnell. I don't know where she gets all these good ideas, but I wish I could get some of them from her, but she's good. And then she's got these ladies who that make it happen. She comes up there, and I tell you what, when she calls you, it's just easier to say yes, ma'am, and okay, than to ask any questions. Ask Bob Pinnell. Right, Bob? It's just easier to do that. So anyway, I would like to read this proclamation right now. This again is to designate May 30th, 2022 as Space Force Day. Whereas in June of 2018, President Donald Trump directed the Pentagon to begin Space Force, and it was signed into law on December the 20th, 2019, as part of the 2020 National Defense Authorization Act. And whereas the U.S. Space Force is the sixth independent military service branch, tasked with missions and operations in the rapidly evolving space domain. And whereas the Jim Burns Firefighter Memorial Park has a site set aside to both honor and remember the past, present, and future heroes from the other 5 branches of service, and whereas part of the mission of the Friends of Memorial Lane is to continue offering in the Memorial Lane section of this unique park ways to keep both citizens and visitors to Granbury, Texas, educated about how we choose to keep this park as the only known park of its kind in the United States. And whereas the Board of the Friends of Memorial Lane has joined hands with local citizens and businesses to add this exciting new display to the park, along with an educational tool for all to learn about the mission of Space Force. And now, therefore, the Hood County Commissioners Court does hereby proclaim May 30th, 2022 as Space Force Day, and encourage citizens to participate at 10:30 a.m. the unveiling of this one-of-a-kind gift to the county. Signed this 24th day of May 2022 by me and all members of the Commissioners Court and our county clerk. This is indeed so special, and this is going to be so great for the future of Hood County. We are going to be recognized, and this is the brainchild, like I said. I can't help doing this, of Julia Pinnell and the work of Mickey Allen and Phil Landon and Bob Pinnell. So thank all of y'all. This is wonderful. Let's give them a we need a picture of this now.
I'll use the, I'm going to use the same picture.
Oh, you're going to use the same?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And I have a correction. I think it's the only one in the whole world, not just on the Space Force. I think it's the whole world.
At this point, it would be the only one in the world.
Right.
At this point. Because there's not another park that has been vetted. You have to be vetted. We have to be vetted to even make the special land tax and use that. So you have to jump through a lot of hoops. So we did.
It's just amazing the work that they've done and the follow-through. I mean, this is amazing what they've done. And this is right here in Granbury, Texas. So it's something for all of us citizens to be very, very proud of and very, very thankful. Thank you all very much. We also have one more thing to do here today, and that's to recognize that Governor Abbott's proclamation declaring May 23rd to May 27th as Texas Flood Awareness Week. And I'm not going to read it, it's very long, and what it does say, it starts with the natural disasters that poor Texas has endured, I guess really beginning with the Galveston flood of 1900 and continuing on, that Texas does have a lot of natural disasters. And it talks about the hurricanes that we have, Rita and Ike and Harvey, and it's just been a really dead thing. But he also talks about the perseverance and the strength of all Texans. And that's what we do have, and how we have always been able to come back and recover. And that's what I like about Pastor McMahon's speech so much, is that the United States will always be able to recover, and hope that all of us can put this aside and really start building on that. So thank you. Now we also have about 20 service awards today too, and this is also very good. So I'm going to call them out, and then Alyssa Welburn is going to do the honors up here. So Karen Buren, 5 years.
Yes, sir. She's unable to attend today.
Okay,
And the next one, Olga Hernandez, 5 years, is unable to attend.
okay.
Next employee is Roberta Stringer.
Yes, Roberta Stringer. I know Roberta Stringer. I can't believe that she's lasted 5 years at Matt Mills.
I know.
And that's what I,
Of all the employees in the office, she's one of them. Oh.
congratulations. Hey,
Thought I was done. Oh, okay.
do you see what I mean
There
there?
you go.
Thank you.
Okay. Next is Tina Villa,
Yes, sir, 10 years.
10 years. Oh, and she's accompanied by Judge Martin Castillo.
Yes, 10 years with Tina, yes. Everybody knows Tina, so that's enough.
That's enough.
I'd say there. Here's your award,
I
Tina.
should be awarded for putting up with him for 10 years.
There you go.
Thank you.
All right, and then next is Cindy Davis. Oh, looky here, our retiring judge too. I'm crying about this too. Aren't you crying about it, Cindy?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Congratulations, Cindy. Thank you.
Thank you. Dusty Wren, 15 years. I met your wife, Dusty. She's the one that keeps you straight, I guess. That's what it is up there.
Yeah, Dusty's been through a lot of good times and bad times, a lot of stuff, and he's one of my very dedicated, most dedicated people there in the jail. And Captain came up here too, so thank you for all your service.
I want to tell all of you that that's Captain Eric Tuberville right with Sheriff Dees. And because of these three men and all the other guys at the Sheriff's Deputy, they have passed the jail standards test for 13 consecutive years in a row. And every time the jail standard comes up there, we have to sign off, the sheriff and I do. And when he tells me that the jail standard people are here, and they never announce, they just show up one day, my heart starts beating like this through my jacket. and we go up there because that jail is kept together with baling wire and duct tape, thanks to our good friend back there in the back in that red shirt that's trying to act inconspicuous there, our maintenance guy. I think we have a whole man that's dedicated to nothing but the jail to keep it running, but it works. Thank you, my friend. All right. Now we got a real good 20 years for Christopher King. 20 years? God, would Shelly bury all this time too? Holy smoke.
He wouldn't have made it. It wasn't me the whole time. Thank you so much. We can't thank Chris enough for his service to the department. He runs our special programs as well as our bond supervision program. And anyway, he does a lot.
Thank you. Good. Okay, so is that all the awards we have today? That was a lot. Thank you, Ms. Welborn. Okay, now that brings us to the, thank all of you. Yes, y'all get back to work. That's why y'all got these service awards, all right? Okay. Now it brings us to the consent agenda. Does any of the commissioners wish to pull anything from the consent agenda? If not, do I hear a proper motion?
Judge, I'll make the motion to approve the consent agenda.
Okay, a motion has been made by Commissioner Cotton to approve the consent agenda. I hear. Second by Commissioner Wilson. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Okay. All right. Now, that brings us to the illustrious Mr. Donald Lenny. We haven't heard from him in a while, but we were blocked from going down to the power plant down at Vista Zero yesterday because you had your crew out there working, but they were able to guide us to an alternate path, Mr. Lenny. I was already getting ready to call you, but we didn't have to.
Had the great all blocking our road for us.
Yes.
It was doing a good job.
They were doing a good job. Good. Okay, what do you have for us, Mr. Lenny?
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. The HOA of Comanche Cove has petitioned these 3 roadways for the county to take. It's Hercules Court, and it runs from Woodmere Trail to the cul-de-sac, and it is 1,245 feet. Hercules Drive is actually, this section will complete Hercules Drive, which the court accepted back in 2017. And it's at 885 feet, and then Phoenix Court from Woodmere Trail to the cul-de-sac, 640 feet. Commissioner Ron Cotton and I went to and looked at these roadways. They have just recently, within the year, has been paved. So there's nothing, if we take it off, the court agrees, there's nothing for us to do. It just goes on our maintenance. We don't have any work that needs to be done on it. So
you recommend that we go ahead and accept these roadways?
Yes, sir, by the policies. And
We're way under the amount of roads that we're allowed to take, so it fits our, and the roads are in good shape. We looked at those, they've done a good job getting them up to
yes, they did.
our standard. So,
They did a very well job, yeah.
I thought so.
I hear a motion.
Judge, I'll make the motion then to accept the following roads into the maintenance, Hood County Maintenance Program, Hercules Court, from Woodmire Trail to cul-de-sac, 1,245 feet, and Hercules Drive from Creek View Drive to Dead End, 885 feet, and Phoenix Court from Woodmere Trail to cul-de-sac, 640 feet.
I hear a second. Second. A motion been made by Commissioner Cotton to approve the acceptance to the 3 roadways that have been stated, and second by Commissioner Andrews. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Mr. Lenny.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay. Next, we have development. Mr. Clint Head.
Morning, Judge. Morning, Commissioners. First, I want to state that on the agenda it says set public hearings for the following replats. We're not setting any public hearings for any replats. The first item we have today is to discuss and consider waiving the fees associated with any platting, replatting, or site development plans and on-site sewage facility permits, except for the $10 fee that goes to the state for the permit for all volunteer fire departments in every precinct during the improvement expansion process that is being worked through currently for the fire departments.
Okay. We have one speaker that is signed up, Tina Brown. Good morning, Ms. Brown.
Good morning. Don't look scared. I'm not causing trouble today. I just have a couple of questions. So I didn't realize we were considering future volunteer department sites
Expansion
at any time. Well,
add-on, improvement.
okay, so not specific sites. Not like, okay. So that was,
One that we talked about, we're doing just in case.
okay, so this is just to waive any fees in the future, whatever.
Just in case something comes up, but I don't have to wait for the election.
Okay, so we're not talking about Invocation.
There was something being discussed, but I got this on the agenda, so I have to wait. We don't have to wait on it.
So when this is going to, where's this discussion taking place?
They're working on the architects and all that right now. And they was pushing an idea around, I said, I want to get ahead of this, so we don't have to wait if something like that happens, so we can go ahead and get it on the agenda the way it be.
We are exploring options on this. We're talking to an architectural firm, construction management company, to look at some remodels and stuff. And there's some potential for new departments. We're in discussions, and it's all still in the infancy stage. But we did want to go ahead and get this taken care of so we can waive those fees.
That's great. I just wasn't aware that there was any discussion about, we talked about discussions and, what's going on with the fire department. So I would just like to know, I'd just like to be kept in the know. I mean, I didn't know this was going on and.
Well,
The expansions and whatever, and I just wanted to be ahead of this, so they didn't have to wait on me.
Well, that's great. I mean, so I can hear. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Any other comments, questions? Do I hear a motion?
yeah, Judge, I'll make a motion that we waive any development and OSSF permit fees except for the state fee for the future volunteer fire department plats, replats, and site development plans.
Second.
A motion been made by Commissioner Andrews to waive the fees except for the state fee. Second by Commissioner Eagle. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously, 5-0. What else do you have for us, Mr. Head?
Next, we have a public hearing for the replat of Pecan Plantation, Unit 7, Lot 1461.
At this time at 9:29, we are convening into a public hearing. So what do you have on this, the first one here, Mr. Head?
This replats the combining of a portion of Lot 1460 with all of Lot 1461 for Pecan Plantation, Unit 7. This replat is the combining of a portion of Lot 1460 with all of Lot 1461 of Pecan Plantation, Unit 7, creating a 2.39 acre lot called Lot 1461R. The property is located in the Water Quality District in Precinct 2 and will be served by AMUD water and on-site sewage facilities, or it is served. All comments have been addressed. Staff recommends approval of the replat of Pecan Plantation, Unit 7, Lot 1461R, as presented.
Okay, any comments or questions? Okay, if not, we're going to reconvene back into Commissioners Court here at 9:30. Do I hear appropriate motion?
Judge, I'll make the motion then to approve the replat of Pecan Plantation, Unit 7, Lot 1461R.
Here, second. Motion been made by Commissioner Cotton to approve the replat of Unit 7, Lot 1461R, second by Commissioner Wilson. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously, 5-0. Okay, what else do you have, Mr. Head?
We have another public hearing to discuss and consider the concept plan of Treaty Oaks in Precinct 2.
Okay, this time we're going to reconvene back into a public hearing at 9:31.
This property is located at 7408 Mistletoe and Granbury and proposes to create 16 single-family lots. This proposed concept plan is located in the Road Corridor District in Precinct 2 and will be served by AMUD water and on-site sewage facilities. The concept plan proposes to construct roughly 1,200 linear feet of 2-inch hot mix street with one cul-de-sac. The largest residential lot is 5 acres. The smallest residential lot is 1.5 acres. There will be fire hydrants installed for fire protection. There are no variances associated with this concept plan. All comments have been addressed. Staff recommends approving the concept plan of Treaty Oaks as presented.
Are there any comments or questions?
Yeah, Judge, we went out and looked at this as a comment. Treaty Oaks was trying to create another subdivision with a lot more lots, and the county, we weren't in favor of that. It wasn't set up for as many lots, so they came back and gave us another concept plan with, 17 units that does meet, or we have no restrictions.
Yeah, they were trying to do 90-something at first,
Yeah,
and
they
we
had
said no
90
way.
90 lots they were trying to put in there, and that wasn't going to apply with the property that they had. So with this, we have no objection to it.
Last plan that I've seen shows that there's 2 entrances into that arena, but that's both off of I believe it's Whisper View, not off of Highway 4.
Right, and this was a part of the original deal, and
Right.
it falls under that, so.
Any other comments or questions? Okay, if not, we're going to reconvene back at 9:32 into the Commissioners' Court. And do I hear an appropriate motion?
Yes, I move that we approve and consider the replat, the concept plan rather, for the Treaty Oaks.
Second.
A motion been made by Commissioner Wilson to approve the concept plan for the Treaty Oaks Precinct 2, second by Commissioner Cotton. Any further comment, questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously 5-0. Mr. Head, still got business with us, don't you?
We have another public hearing to discuss and consider the concept plan of Pirate Village residential development in Precinct 3.
Okay, at this time at 9:33, we're convening back into a public hearing.
This property is located at 2715 Acton Highway in Granbury and proposes to create 72 single-family lots. This proposed concept plan is located in the Road Corridor District in Precinct 3 and be served by AMUD water and AMUD sewer. The concept plan proposed to construct roughly 2,978 linear feet of urban standard curb 6-inch concrete streets. The largest residential lot is 0.2 of an acre and the smallest is 0.1 of an acre. There will be fire hydrants installed for fire protection. There is one variance associated with this concept plan. The variance is to the development permit regulations, section 5.5A1A, Road Corridor District Land Use Standards, Residential Density Standards, limitations. Those standards state that maximum residential density within the Road Corridor District shall not exceed the density of 4 dwelling units per acre are allowed when urban standard streets are constructed with centralized water and sewer available. Staff believes there's a discrepancy in the regulations because under the same conditions in the Water Quality District, which is the county's most strict district, the densities would be allowed to be 8 dwelling units per acre with urban standards and centralized water and sewer. And if you read the definition of the Road Corridor District in section 5.2B, it states, most multifamily commercial developments should be located in this district, the Road Corridor District, where centralized water and wastewater systems are available. Higher residential densities may be developed. Staff believes the regulations define the intent of the Road Corridor District and has no objection to this variance. All comments have been addressed. If the court chooses to grant the variance first, staff recommends approving the concept plan of Pirate Village residential development as presented, concept plan as presented.
Any questions or comments? Okay, so this is just to approve the concept plan then at this time?
And the
correct?
variance. Variance first.
Okay. Do I hear my, all right, it's now 9:36. We're reconvening back into Commissioners' Court. Are there any questions or comments? If not, do I hear an appropriate motion?
Yes, I move that we approve the concept plan for Pirate Village residential development.
Point, do we need to make the approval of variance first?
Yes. You need to approve the variance and then the concept plan.
You want to do that, Jack? Or-
Okay, so a motion been made by Commissioner Wilson to approve the variance, and you want two motions on that?
No, you can do the same.
Doing the same?
Just
Okay.
state it.
To approve the variance as proposed by Clint Head, and also to approve the concept plan for Pirate Village. Does anyone have any question or comments or discussion?
Second that motion.
Okay, and so we got a second by Commissioner Cotton. All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Again, motion carries unanimously 5-0. You got something else, Mr. Head?
Oh, of course.
You're overworking us, Mr. Head.
We have a public hearing to discuss the site development plan of Circle B RV Park in Precinct 1.
Is this rolling? Is this rolling? This is it right there. That's all these right here, isn't it? Okay. All right, at this time, which is, 9:37, we're reconvening into a public hearing.
The property address for this site development plan is 7200 Boswell Court. The site development plan will occupy approximately 5.33 acres of Tract 47 of Old WD Ranch, Phase 1 of Section D, and is located in the rural district in Precinct 1, and proposes to create 16 RV hookups to be served by well and on-site sewage facilities. I believe there's some comments, and then I'll finish.
Yes. Okay.
Six, so you can do five.
We got,
5 minutes on each one.
okay, yeah. I have 6 people that signed up to address this, is that right? Yeah. Yeah, yeah. All right, so I guess we can have 5 minutes for each one of these. So the first one is Ryan Dunn. Good morning, Mr. Dunn.
Good morning. Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak today. My name's Ryan Dunn, and I live at 7226 Boswell Court and own the property across the street of Boswell Court, 7307 and 7339 Boswell Court, and as well 15313 Margarita Court, where we're building our home at the moment. Excuse me, I'm a little nervous and don't want to speak from emotion, but just truth. Before y'all's a site development plan to open up an RV park. And after looking at these plans that were drawn by hand, I personally went out yesterday and measured the width of my south property line to Mr. Markham's property line. The road in itself is only 18.5 feet wide. And for one-way traffic, it states in your plan that you adopted that it had to be 20 feet one way. So we need a total of 40 feet both directions for two-way traffic. Well, right now the road does not meet that qualification. And also, some years back, to my understanding, that that WD Court was actually owned, the road was owned by the WD Court subdivision, which it still states it's a subdivision. And there is some, I guess, question on who owns the road to when it comes up to my property line on the south side of Boswell. And if that's the case, and we have a say in who can travel our road or the width of our road and who's going to improve the infrastructure of the road, that falls on us as taxpayers and you all as the commissioners and the county judge. It's just not 6 of us or 7 of us speaking today. There's a Facebook, we have a neighborhood group called the Star Hollow Facebook group, and there's plenty of people that are not happy about this situation and that they're actually would love to be here, but most of us have to work, and that's where I'm going after this is to work. With that being said, if my questions, I guess, would be, I think that we need to probably see who owns the road. Is the road's width appropriate for two-way traffic of RV? And also, if you measure from fence line to fence line on our south side, it's only 45 foot, that is including the easements from the Lipan telephone company. And on that, we're not even allowed to build our fence upon. Why are we allowed to build a road upon it? And this goes into several different situations as well. The WD Court well system, which supplies the Lipan water supply, is already being taxed because of all the new growth. And now we're going to add more water usage. We're going to add more sewage that's probably going to run off into our land on how it slopes, which I'll personally call TCEQ if I need to. This is my home. I'm a father. I'm a husband. I'm a rancher. I have 110 acres in Hood County where my residence sits in. We're paying a ton of taxes to this community, and we want this to be our forever home. Now it's being encroached on by a transient RV park. And I have about 1 minute and 50 seconds left, and I would like to, pull out my phone because it's the new notebook, right? There's a couple of things that my neighbor down the road that could not make it, also a military man, states that this would possibly have a potential increase in crime and disturbance. With the current market situation, lack of homes being offered, this park will be a temporary home for many classes, cultures of people. Safety, no law enforcement is there for 30 minutes. I personally know that. I've had to call the law enforcement for this same problem that we're having to our house, and I nearly beat them from Mineral Wells to my house in Lipan when my wife and my kids were being threatened. The environmental impact is such an increased trash, litter, pollution. What about sound barrier noise? What about campfires, the Big L fire? It came up a football field to my house. And to be honest with you, the owner lives in Erath County, and this is the back end of his property, and he's trying to establish a commercial business in a residential where the roads are not made for that type of impact of traffic. That heavy material can't do it. It's going to cause roadway construction that it's going to be on the taxpayers to fix. And I know I have only 30 seconds left, and I want to look at y'all. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for representing the people. You know, we are the voting people of Boswell Court, and we are just trying to save our home. It is personal to us. It's where we live. That's where we're going to raise our family. So I would just ask, if anything, can we not table this and do some more research to who owns the road and the road's width, and if it's able to even handle that kind of traffic? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dunn.
Let me answer
Okay.
these before we get past too far.
Yeah.
But he was talking about the road width. What we're talking about the road width is not, on that map is on this guy's property. Everything that dimensions is on this guy's property. This guy's property goes to the center of the road. He owns to the center of the road. The other people own to the center of the road. The county maintains the road. The taxpayers pay for the maintenance of the road. This guy owns to the center of the road. What's on that map is drawn on his property. He has the width. They would argue that those RVs are not going to weigh any more than a cattle trailer. The six RVs per acre, they look at just like a house. There's 21 acres on this tract. He's only using 5 acres of it. According to what TCEQ sets as standards, that's where we got our rule from. What was the other question? As far as what he measured, I'm not sure what he measured, but I'm looking at the plat and the drawing that shows the property line to the center of the road, the center of the cul-de-sac. The dimensions are there. The law says we have to cite something in the law for something to deny it. I mean, he's met all of our regulations. We can't be arbitrary on what we say we'd turn it down.
Shayna Dunn. Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, we measured the road, and the road is just a little over 18 feet. That's the actual road that the city maintains. And if it's the case that we own to the center of the road, we own both sides of the property, the road, before that. So we technically own an entire section of that road if that's the case. And if, yeah, that's great. So whatever we need to do to go forward with that would be amazing. The people that are here to speak, like he said, are just a portion of this neighborhood. We found out about this last night at 5 o'clock, and this was the people that came on that short of notice. I can guarantee you the entire neighborhood is opposed to this. It says in here, in the Hood County Regulations, Development, Section 1, or Section 6.11 on the RV park. It says, RV parks shall only be permitted where allowed by Hood County Development Regulations and shall not be permitted in any area found unsuitable for development because of poor or undesirable drainage. We would like to have that looked at as well. It's up on top of the hill, which the entire drainage goes down into our property, which feeds our livestock. Also, physical topography, soil characteristics, we're also concerned about the soil. Public access, again, not suitable for public access. This is a dead-end road. It's not even a cul-de-sac. It's a dead-end road in a subdivision. Or other features that may be harmful to public health, safety, and general welfare, which this is obviously affecting all of us. No entrance or exit from a recreational vehicle park shall be permitted through a residential district. If you search the definition of residential district, whether we're zoned or not, we fall under that category. We are homes. Also, it says each RV park shall have a separate exit and entrance roadway, each of which shall not be less than 28 feet, which he would decide that, and shall connect to a dedicated public right-of-way not less than 40 feet in width. Again, not meeting that 40 feet in width. Also, whether or not it's public, I know the county has easement to maintain this road for us, but is that technically a public road? Also, I know, Mr. Burrows, I would like to look at you. Your community, your neighborhood does not want this. We are asking you, we've tried talking to you. He showed up at my house and scared my kids into hiding and locking in the room already once. We've already had to call the police on this man. It scares me to even stand up here and have to have this conversation, because what's next? Just this morning, his Facebook comment was, how about a large hog feedlot capable of feeding out a couple thousand hogs? Would that be better? This is the third threat that he's made to do something. This is just simply retaliation because we told him we didn't want an RV park in our neighborhood. I could read you more Facebook comments. Residents of Boswell Court, 100% against. I'm against it, but not able to attend. I'm out of town. 100% against it, and I too am out of town. This is the last thing we need in our neighborhood. We're asking you to hear us, and you have the ability to stop a business from being put in. If he wants to go buy a proper place to do this, let's support him 100%. But this is not the place. This is our home and where our family resides with countless other families. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dunn. Okay. Yes.
As far as the road width, this was platted and done way before the state allowed counties to have any kind of restrictions or any kind of say in platting. We can't go back and change what was done in the past. As far as soil characteristics, Ms. Stacks can comment to that, because that has to do with the drainage and the soil characteristics. There's no floodplain, so there's not a drainage problem, but the soil characteristics have to do with OSF permit. So you want to talk about that one? You approved it.
Come on up, Ms. Stacks. I mean, I can see you're chomping at the bits to tell us.
Okay, the septic is approved on it. The property is 21 acres. He's only using 5. State law requires for commercial for you to have double the capacity. So if we should have any issues, we can expand the size of the system. The soil met the criteria to have a conventional, so there will it will all be underground. There will be no chance of runoff of effluent onto neighboring properties. They have a buffer for the well. And it says there will be no bathhouses or laundry facility will be put into the system. So they met the criteria for the septic. It's less than 5,000 gallons per day. So the state does not have to review this. And I don't have any choice but to allow it to be permitted.
Okay. Thank you, Miss. All right, we got some more speakers here, please. Kimberly Collins. Morning, Miss Collins.
Hi, was that Miss Sachs?
Yes.
Every time my permit goes out, I get a letter from you, and I'm only 3 people on my 17 acres. Huh. Is this going to be an aerobic septic system?
Ma'am.
Just a question. Is it going to be an aerobic septic system?
That's what I said, I believe.
You said it's going to be in ground and conventional. I wasn't allowed to have a conventional septic system for 3 people. So I don't see how that would be acceptable.
A 3-foot excavation width, 750 linear feet of pipe.
Yeah, I wouldn't think that'd be that great of an idea with that many possible people living there.
Can you speak into the microphone, Ms.
Oh.
Collins?
To make the standards.
Oh, I guess I don't have a good enough engineer. I pay $9,500 a year in taxes, and that might be just nothing to you guys. But to have to put up with a mobile home park, or, I mean, an RV park right down the street from me and my family, and I bought this property in '01. My property taxes went up 910% since I've been out there. And to live down the street from that, I think the property value is going to go the other way, not that way. So the bumpy road that I live on, I just don't think it could handle the way, well, it's not that, the traffic that would be coming in and out. And where are these people going to wash their clothes? They're going to drive 30 miles to go do their laundry from that RV park? Where are they going to do their laundry? And that camper, where are they going to empty it at if there's no facility for it? Are they going to drive to Bennett's and Granbury to dump their trailers? I mean, the stuff's going to have to go somewhere. Just a question. That's a long way to haul your RV every time the stuff gets full. Another question.
Okay.
If you don't have a dump site on your campground.
I don't know what you're talking about, a dump site, you have a septic system.
Right. And you're going to have that all hooked up to each RV site? And that's going to handle all those people.
It says, the engineer's design says.
I would like to have another opinion on the engineer handling that many sites with that size of a regular RV site, whatever, and not an aerobic system.
Can I say something?
Yes.
Y'all can wait, y'all can get another opinion, but if you table it, it's automatically approved.
Okay. Mr. Mills, are you listening to all this? Yes. Can you come up
I guess
here
we
and
could
give
get a
us,
lawyer.
get a legal opinion here from our county attorney right here.
Well, I looked at the agenda, and usually I just look at the miscellaneous for the spicy stuff, and I didn't see anything, and nobody told me anything about this being a thing until I got a text from Kevin at 6:30 last night, and the previous discussion was all about the setback lines. I mean, I have an email from Clint about all that with various law. I mean, nobody's brought up any of this other stuff about sizes of roads and whatnot in advance. I mean, I can't just shoot from the hip up here. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Nobody brought it to me, so I mean, Clint's got some stuff printed off here, so.
It's not approved in 30 days, it's automatically approved.
Okay, so, I mean, I guess I'd have to defer to Clint, because he's got all the law printed out here. I mean, I just, nobody brought this to me, so I better not commit malpractice, so, I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay, do you have anything else, Ms. Collins?
No, but if this does come about and that septic system's wrong and we get a lawyer and find out, somebody's going to have to answer to that. Just saying.
I understand. Okay.
To answer to that, that's why they hire an independent engineer or a registered sanitary, and it's on their license or on their deal. The county is not the ones that designed the system.
Who's the independent engineer, Mr. Head?
I'm not sure what the repercussions are of naming something like that in court, so I'd rather not say.
All right. Okay. Okay, the next speaker is Shelly Burns. Shelly Burns.
Hello.
Good morning, Ms. Burns.
I live at 7900 Boswell Court. It's lot 51. Where we live, when you're turning off Star Hollow onto Boswell Court, I know some RVs are bigger than others. So there's not an extra large drive onto Boswell Court. Plus, we live on the very first corner on the right. It's like a 90-degree angle. There have been people who have gone around the corner on a wet evening that have slid off upside down in a ravine that's on our place. So people, if you have a wide RV trailer and you're coming around that corner, you're blindsided. Most RVs take up quite a bit of space when they're turning corners. So our concern is, once again, with that 2-lane traffic, there's not enough room. That corner literally, my husband, would you say it was 90 degrees? Yeah. It's roughly 90 degrees. So we're lucky nobody has died just on the little bit of traffic that's been on our road since we've been there. We've been there since 1998. We've raised a family. Our grandkids come out. We've had different livestock over the years. So the traffic concerns me just that corner. Is there any suggestion as to what to do with that corner and the traffic?
I don't know. Can you respond to that, Mr. Head? Traffic.
There's nothing in the regs that have to do with that. I mean, we deal with the person's private property. This person could have subdivided that property into 15 lots.
Okay.
Wouldn't that be on the way and on the way out from the RV park?
I'm not sure what you mean on the way and on the way out.
When people are traveling to come to the RV park, they have to come down Boswell Court. Is that not correct?
That is correct, but they're not responsible for the whole Boswell Court. They're responsible for their private property.
Okay, well, when I'm traveling towards my house, I have to get on that corner to turn into my driveway, which is on the corner. I'm concerned with the RVs and the other passerbyers that are traveling and kids on their bicycles that are in that area.
I understand that, but I can only do what the law allows and what the regulations allow.
Okay, so would that be would that be Hood County's job to widen that corner, or would that be my job to widen the corner, or would there be warning signs to warn the people who are traveling there that you could get blindsided or ran off the road? Because then that would, if they ran off onto my property and ran into my fence or my grandchild, who's who's responsible then for that? Because the road's not wide enough and the corner is already dangerous.
Well, I think that, I mean, unfortunately, that's a situation that occurs. Our roads are, you have to put a road where you can get it, and sometimes it ends up with a 90-degree turn in the road. I mean, they're all over the place. There is some, Mr. Lenny, don't let me get too far out of line here, but we can go out and mark that corner with some center. Could we do that on the 90-degree portion of that, to put the little reflectors in the center to delineate the lanes or whatever? And that's what we do in issues where, you have some line corners and stuff like that.
Yes, and the cattle that get out and different stuff like that.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening.
The next speaker is Robert Burns. Good morning, Mr. Burns.
Good morning. How are you? I've got a couple of deals I'm addressing to this situation. Water. Lipan is having a water difficult time. I've seen my pressure go down since '98 that I've been there. And we're fixing to put in an RV park. What's the water going to do then? Where's it coming from? Second issue is the taxes. They're outrageous. I've still got the same two buildings on my property where it was a little over $1,000 a year when I paid for it. Now it's over $4,000. What's the RV park going to do? Is it going to raise them? Because now we got more people. I've had people roll over the road on my corner through my fence. I know of 5 times. My neighbor across the street come over, keep your kids behind the gate to get on the bus. We've seen rollover after rollover. You know what the Highway Patrol told me? The speed limit on that road is 60 miles an hour. I said, well, can't we get signs put up that says slow, children at play? Never happened. I ended up getting one from a garage sale. Posted it on my fence, slow down, children at play. That much more traffic on that road, there's enough already. I don't know where you plan on putting all these RVs at the end, but they've all got to come by my driveway. I don't think it's right. We don't need that. We bought that for private property to raise a family, grandkids. We don't need it out there. It should be outside the city limits on somebody else's town. We don't need it. I'll just be honest with you. The neighbors behind me, they got little kids, and I've told him, keep your kids off the road. Keep your kids, we're right on a sharp curve. He's finally started to listen and keeping his kids off the road. They drive over 60, let's just put it that way. There's people that come around that corner, and you can just hear them scooting the gravel off the side of the road. We don't need an RV park there. I can say that. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, Mr. Burns. The next speaker is Elizabeth Mercer. Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. First question I have is, when we began arguing about this, because it's been an argument, I asked for an Attorney General's opinion. I understand that the county attorney has decided that that's not necessary, and I understand that this is his bailiwick. Having said that, as a citizen of this county who pays taxes, I'm not interested in a guru I'm not interested even in what Mr. Mills said respectfully, sir. I want an Attorney General's opinion, and I want you to publish it. And I don't understand why this is difficult. That's the first thing. The second thing is this argument about the width of the road. Okay, it defies logic that you go out and you measure a paved road, because they will be driving on a paved road, and we have all measured it. They're not going to get over into our bar ditch. At least I hope they're not. I've already had my mailbox knocked over 3 times. I'd like to not have to replace that again. But having said that, they're driving on the road that is paved, and I realize that we're not all engineers, but we're not stupid either, and we've measured the road. You cannot even drive a school bus down that road safely and have a vehicle come from the other direction. There isn't room. There's no room on Star Hollow for the exact same thing. I also understand that everyone is concerned about the civil rights of others, and I respect that. It's a philosophical issue, a philosophical question. But we have civil rights as well. We have the right to live in our homes. We have the right to not worry about safety. We have the right to worry about whether or not we're going to have adequate protection from runoff, et cetera, et cetera. And I understand there's a well in, I understand there's a septic system in, and I understand you're going to monitor it. I'm just going to say, if there is a problem, it's going to be too late for us by the time you decide to do something. There are laws, and I know that you feel like you are bound to protect Mr. Burrows. Well, when do we get protection as citizens? When do our children get protections as citizens? If he is driving on a road that does not meet the standards, and it doesn't because you paved it. 20 years ago, I was involved in getting that road paved. You paved it. If I own to the middle of the road and I am not denying him access to his domicile, why are you forcing me to give him access to a business that's going to value my property, bring an unsafe measure to my neighborhood, and make it where I can't even go down and get my mail in my vehicle because I'm going to have to pull over to let a travel trailer or an RV by when there's no room on the road for both of us? I would not have your choices, gentlemen, because I realize it's Solomon's choice. But I am objecting loudly to having my civil rights violated like I don't matter. Like my neighbor's civil rights don't matter. Like the children's civil rights don't matter. Because one man has decided to put in a business in a dead-end road filled with families. We have rights as well. I still want to know why we didn't get that Attorney General's opinion. Thank you.
Please address that. The last time I asked for an AG opinion, we're still waiting over a year to get it. Okay, none of these people won't wait over a year. It's long since done. We're in lawsuits by then. The other thing is, everything I've heard about this in the past, a couple of months ago, was setbacks. That's the only thing I ever heard was how much setback can you require and so on. And we went through that with Clint and on. It seemed very clear cut about the setbacks and what we could and couldn't do. Now we've raised a whole slew of issues that I've never heard before and nobody's brought to me until just in this last half hour. Which, I mean, they're valid points. I mean, they're making about the road and the curvature and the width and all that stuff. I've never heard that before. I don't know what the AG opinion would be for, but I'm reluctant to just go to the AG all the time. I mean, I think I've done 4 requests for AG opinions in 5.5 years as county attorney. I mean, I don't just go holler at the AG, and they sure don't come and just turn around an opinion within a few weeks, as y'all have seen, and we're, dealing with that. So that's why I haven't gone to the AG. So I just wanted to address that briefly.
Is there anybody else?
Go ahead, Mr.
Is anybody else speaking?
Sure. No more speakers.
First, I'd like to say We're neutral. We don't favor or against any subdivision, any submittal. We got to go by what the law says, what the regulations say, and I got to tell you what they say. I don't favor, I don't endorse, I just tell you what they say. The difference between this and the subdivision, y'all are talking about dedicating right-of-way. This is not a plat. This is a site development plan, which has to do with his private property right there. He's not creating a subdivision. He's not dividing the property. He is doing a site development plan on his property, which he cannot go in unless he does a plat to dedicate right-of-way. It does not work like that. In fact, the law says that you cannot make him do a site development plan with the plat at the same time. It was put in place in 2019. It's in 232. (00285). Now, when I tell y'all what the regs say, I can tell y'all that all the comments have been addressed. There are no variants associated with this site development plan. And I can tell you staff recommends approval, but if y'all want to disapprove it, I got to tell you what the law says. The law says in Local Government Code 232-0026, approval procedural, conditional approval of a plat or disapproval requirements. And this is talking about a plat or replat, but a couple of sections back, it talks about a site development plan, and it says all conditions of this section apply to this. So it refers back to this. Commissioner's Court or designee that it conditionally approves or disapproves a plat application under this subchapter shall provide the applicant a written statement of the conditions for the conditional approval or the reasons of for this disapproval that clearly articulate each specific condition for the conditional approval or reason for disapproval. Each condition or reason specified in the written statement must be directly related to the requirements of this subchapter and include a citation to the law, including the statute or order that is the basis for the conditional approval or disapproval, if applicable, and may not be arbitrary. And then it goes on later in the next chapter and tells you that if they come back and they address those, even if you deny it, it's approved.
What do you mean, even if we...
There is no definite denial in county government. They can address what you deny it for if you list it and it's approved.
Okay. You have...
We can't hear that.
We can't, you're going to have to come up here. I'm going to go ahead and allow, I think that... Okay, go ahead and speak.
Can you pull up section 6.11 on RV parks and read through those requirements? And those are the things that we're subjecting against that are he's in violation of in these requirements on your county page, section 6.11.
Mr. Mills, can you help us out with this? We don't have that.
Maybe.
I hate to put you on the spot, but it's...
No, an recreational vehicle park.
Right.
Yes.
A residential neighborhood that's not defined.
No, that is just one. There are many things he's in violation of. When we talk about it shall connect to a dedicated public right-of-way not less than 40 feet in width. It does not meet that requirement.
It connects to an existing road that's grandfathered under the road because that, it's grandfathered, I mean.
Then we actually have
We're not
grandfathered,
platting, so we can't make him build a bigger road.
you would have to provide him with an exception, and we're opposing that exception. That road is not 40 feet. And that's just one. I mean, we could go through again all the things I talked about before, but these are in your code.
Adopted rules and regs.
And we actually had subdivision deed restrictions that, are they adopted in as well? It's 18 feet. We also have our surveys.
You're talking about the asphalt.
The asphalt, the road itself from fence to fence is what, 37.5 feet, 37.8? It's not even 40, even if you went from fence line to fence line. It cannot meet those requirements.
It says right here that that cul-de-sac is 50-foot radius.
That cul-de-sac does not exist. That is not public road. The public road ends at that dot. If you go look up the plats,
This cul-de-sac is on his property, track 47.
But it connects to a public.
right, but that's not,
Wait, we can't hear everybody talking at one time.
May I?
Yeah. Well, let's do one thing at a time.
the road that that's cul-de-sac is connecting to is
Okay, so what is
18.4
it?
feet.
This,
Right there, 50 foot right away to cul-de-sac.
oh, okay.
I know that's what I'm talking
That's a recorded plat?
It's a recorded plat. It's not talking about asphalt, it says 40 foot.
It's 37 point something from fence line to fence line. It can't even be 40, even if he wanted it to be 40.
It's dedicated as 50 foot right there.
Yeah, this public road, or we don't even know if it's public or private at this point.
It's dedicated as a public right away on the easement or people wouldn't be using it.
Well, it's not even 40 feet. It can't be 40 feet unless you remove our fences.
The fences are included in the easement then.
No, they've been there.
We had them both surveyed before we bought the place. We own both sides of that road. And when we also go back to, that's just one point. There are several points that he's not meeting these regulations in your code. If you want to pull it up.
Could I ask a question of Mr. Head? You're saying this is not a plat application. Then where does the 30-day rule come in? Because the 30-day rule applies to a plat application.
Back here on the other one, it says, for development plan review, everything in this section goes by this filing procedure,
What's this?
by this section. 2320825.
This still has to do with plat approval process. I'm confused about the plat situation. They're not asking for a plat, but this statute goes to a platting situation. So again, I'm confused here on this 30-day window that you're telling us.
It's telling you here that we have another law that allows us to do a site development plan. Some places don't. We just have we have an order that allows us to do a site development plan, but we still have the timely condition that we have to do it, that they passed in 2019.
May I address real quick,
Yes.
please, sir? You know, the thing that I believe is catastrophic has been, even the weight of those vehicles, the road is going to be tore up, and it's going to cost the county to maintain it even more. Okay, so if he does have the 50 feet, when it enters the public right-of-way, it's only 18.5 feet. So if we're meet with two-way traffic in an 18.5-foot road,
That's generous too.
yes, it's going to have to go to the bar ditch. And the bar ditch goes on the easement in Lipan Telephone Company and into my fences. It cannot withstand the traffic or the width of these RVs.
And it says right here, you can deny it based on public access under location in section 6.11. And it also says that it can't go through a residential district. Whether we're zoned or not residential, it's not talking about zoning in that specific line, it's talking about a residential district, which is the third reason that you could deny this.
Mills.
Sorry, I just had a thought. It seems to me that if you approve it, it's over, right? I mean, they put it in, we're done, the people can be mad, but it's done. If you deny it, you could potentially, all of us, revisit this stuff and put it on the agenda in a couple of weeks and then approve it. Or get them to comply with one thing or another if we have a discrepancy or a problem. I mean, it seems like, I don't know, just from where I was thrown into this all of a sudden this morning, I mean, I've never visited the property myself. Some of y'all probably haven't. I mean, maybe I did years ago, but I haven't like inspected it and looked at it and reviewed all the points that she's making, and I would like to, but obviously if you approve today, it's done. I understand that the county subjects itself to some liability if you deny it and there's no basis for denial, but I mean, if you deny it with the intention of putting it back on the court a couple weeks from now, I don't think that that's going to be grounds for, a suit by the developer or the owner, you know what I mean? So, I don't know, I mean, that would at least give me time to look at all of her points, review it with Clint, go visit it myself if needed, and try to really come up with what is fair. I don't know, it's just a thought, if y'all want to consider. Is that, I mean, did I get that correct, Clint? I mean, as far as that possibility? Okay, I don't know, that's just a thought.
Yeah. Well, and here's the deal. This is very hard for us up here because you do have valid points up here. I'm not denying that about what everybody has said. It's very valid points. And then you got the rights also of the landowner on the thing, as you heard him say. So we're sitting up there and saying this. It may be, I kind of like Mr. Mills' suggestion, is just, we're not denying nor approval. We're just going to, how about rescheduling this for 2 weeks where we're not denying the landowner's right to develop this. We'll give you a new time. You said that y'all didn't know about this until last night or whatever on the deal. And let Mr. Mills go ahead and look at it with Mr. Head and see what we can do, because you've got competing legal rights here. And, we want to address both of them. We want to be fair, too. But you do recognize we have to follow the law.
Right, and that's what we're asking.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So does anybody wish to make a motion?
Well, can I ask another question? Mr. Head, what is the date from which your 30 days in your mind, what date does that start? Because I think that's the concern I've got is, if we just table it and there's a matter of, it just is approved as a matter of law after the time period goes, then we still haven't let these folks, I haven't had a chance to review this myself at all, so what is your date from which?
It would be today. It was like, we was turned in on the court, and it was the way the papers fell, it would be today. But if Mr. Burrows is in the room, maybe he would yield to let us do it until the next court.
So you're saying the 30-day starts to run today?
Yeah, it would be ending today, but if he's in the room, he may be willing to let us put it off till we look at it and go to the next court.
Mr. Burrows, would you like to make a statement?
Is this the owner?
Yes.
I do live on that property. I have grandkids on that property. I have great-grandchildren on this property. It's nothing that I do I plan to jeopardize any of my family. I simply see a need. I've been asked over and over, is there someplace out there I could park an RV? Folks today just don't have enough money to buy homes right off the bat. These are perfect starters. Buy you an RV, get you a place to park it. When I drive up and down that same road that they're talking about, almost every house has an RV hooked up to utilities beside it. I don't know what that means. I would think that people are finding places to park the RV. I've tried to do everything that the law says do, in order to plan this thing. I don't know what more I can do. The road is not a big, wide road. The easement to me looks like it's every bit of 40 foot. The pavement's not, of course. It is a county-maintained paved road. I've owned the property for well over 20 years, and I would do nothing to jeopardize my own property. Thank you.
Okay.
Is he willing to extend?
Excuse me.
I thought the question was whether or not he was willing to extend.
Mr. Burris, you know, the question was, and I'm not giving you legal advice or asking you, I'm just repeating the question that was asked. Would you be willing to allow the Commissioners Court, if that's even possible? I don't even know the way you've read it. It may be, I'm sorry? Like a continuance for 2 weeks, and let us look at that. I know that I've heard Mr. Head said that your rights, and you were within your legal rights, and then I've heard the Dunns and these other people talk about that it doesn't appear to be that they have some question about this. I'm not asking, the question is, would you be willing to give this a 2-week continuance until next Commissioners Court? I don't know.
I certainly would. I would invite every one of the members of the court to come look at it.
Okay. Okay. Well, if that's the case,
There needs to
then
be a
he is
motion.
willing to do that, so.
There needs to be a motion on the continuance.
I'll make a motion that we do a continuance on this for 2 weeks till the next Commissioners Court.
Okay, Commissioner Andrews has moved that we make a continuance on this particular item here for 2 weeks, second by Commissioner Wilson. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Got a 2-week continuance.
Thank you.
Thank all of y'all.
Thank you.
all of you. Okay. All right. That brings us down to financial. Ms. Kidd. Item 2, right, for the, yeah.
Ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, Judge Commissioners. You all have received advance documents relating to the invoices that are payable in this court. We've also given you a list of payments over $10,000. Are there any questions regarding any invoices, payments?
Anybody have any question or comment about Ms. Kidd's bill here of only $1,621,590.92? I like Mrs. Kidd. She likes to round off to the penny.
Judge, I'll make the motion to approve the expenditures in the amount of $1,621,590.92.
Second.
A motion been made by Commissioner Cotton to approve the expenditure, second by Commissioner Andrews. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. The next item.
Monthly reports.
Consider financial reports reviewed by the Audit Department for the period of May 1st, 2022 through May 15th and take appropriate action. We have one speaker. Is that what you wish to speak on, Dr. Granick? Okay. Please come up and address the court.
I can be ever so brief.
Okay.
There are 2 reports not here. One is the elections, and I can understand there's an active election going on. Just curious why there's no report from the county clerk's office. Thank you.
Okay.
We
Yes,
did
ma'am.
not receive those in time or at all. No, that's right.
We have missing the county clerk and the elections.
We don't have the county clerks on here because we didn't receive it in time.
Yes, ma'am, you did. It had to be amended because it didn't have a date on it.
Well, then
Can you
we
speak
didn't
up?
get it in time. Even if it has to be amended, if we don't have it by the 15th, we don't put it on here. We do that across the board. We don't no exceptions. If you don't get it to us complete by the 15th, if you have to amend it, then we don't have it.
Okay, I can explain that. I had to amend it, but I was on vacation for a week, so I was out of town. So I didn't get done, but she does have the amended version.
So it'll be on the next month's?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's the same thing we do with everyone. We don't pick on Katie or anyone else.
And the election's the same way? It
The
just didn't get
elections,
it?
I don't believe we have it at all.
Okay.
Again, some of them are late,
So have
some
you
of them are
talked to
in.
the elections administrator?
We have.
Okay. Okay. Sounds like you're on it.
Probably busy today.
I bet she's busy today.
Okay, well,
And this is kind of in the monthly report part and not, but under the consent agenda, and I'm bringing this up to, and everybody will understand why. In the consent agenda, we did a line item transfer of $100,000 into fuel. And I don't think that's going to get us through the end of the year. I'm just making that point so that y'all are aware that we're going to have to find some money for fuel. And what I'm understanding is fuel will be up to $6 a gallon by the end of the year. It's going to affect our budget. So just want to make everyone aware of that we're out of fuel. You can't anticipate this. If I had a crystal ball, I'd have been able to say, hey, Katie, before you go on vacation, let's get your report straight so it can be on the agenda. But just again, letting you know this. Now I ask for you to vote on these monthly reports.
I'll make the motion to accept the monthly reports as presented.
okay, Commissioner Cotton has made a motion to accept the monthly reports as submitted, second by Commissioner Wilson. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Ms. Kidd.
Thank you.
Okay, that brings us down to miscellaneous. Item number 1, discuss and consider installation of a drive-through window for the vehicle registration office. Good morning, Ms. Ferguson.
Gentlemen, I do apologize. I am
Allergy?
out of it, so I have my beautiful assistant here to help me in case I have another coughing fit.
Okay. And I see
You
you
wanna
brought
have one,
Mr. Riley with you. Is he going to help you out?
Yes, there he is.
Okay.
I won't cough on you, I
That's
promise.
good.
I am not sick, though. It is all allergies.
Okay.
What we're asking is for a drive-through for our vehicle registration office.
Thank you.
I do believe that is something that this county needs very much so for our community, for our disabled, our veterans, our mothers, our fathers that have 5 kids. And it will also relieve a lot of flow through our office for just people for renewals and for handicap placards. And if there is any downtime in that window, if ever a downtime in that window, they will also be producing all of the mail that we receive in. I don't know why we've never had a drive-through. This community really needs a drive-through for vehicle registrations. Jay was nice enough, and Glenn was nice enough to give us one of his rooms. Jay was nice enough to get some quotes for us for the window. He gave you 2, one that, excuse me, one for the drawer and one for just the opening. The
Okay.
drawer is bulletproof, though.
What I was looking at, I wanted to give you 2 options here. One of them is a manual window. It's non-ballistic. No drawer, you just reach through. They hand you money, you hand them the plates. The other one's got the drawer in it. It's going to be the same thing as like if you roll through the pharmacy or whatever. The window does not open. It is ballistic glass, so they're completely separated. Haven't thought about that a little bit during, the pandemic and being exposed. You won't be exposed to the individuals in the car, so.
So is that like the bank where the drawer comes out and puts
It's
your
got-
thing in, they bring it back and forth? Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
On it for them to speak.
It does have a speaker system. They can talk both ways.
Yeah,
And it pretty much
that's the way to
isolates
go.
it. Helps on air conditioning too.
It's true.
And a canopy will be put over the drive-through area.
I sit and watch, and there are a lot of people that struggle getting in the door, getting up to the counter and serving. I feel this is very necessary for the citizens of this county.
Now the cost, if you notice, the cost to cut the wall, that's $1,500 for one of the windows, and the reason it's $2,000 for the second window, it's a little larger because it's got the drawer. That's a 5.5-inch concrete wall. So this price includes cutting and hauling away. That's a large chunk of cement, and it's something that I can't handle. And we can handle all the rest of the work, put the window in, finish it off. We can do all that. I do have to go to a third party, though, to cut the concrete.
I don't like the safety feature, both for COVID, both for the people and everything else, and once you did it, you'd never have to really worry about it again. I think the banks still have the same ones in the last.
And Jay did also, we were talking about redirecting the traffic from the back end, coming around this way, because the drive-through will be on this side. It's not going to be attached to my building, it will be attached to their building. So it'll be on this side, so we would redirect the traffic up and then go out that way.
I appreciate all of y'all working together on this to come up with something that's really going to be good for the county here, and working together and helping each other out. I really like that. That's really good. I know you've given them some space that you have, but y'all work well together up there, and I really like that. So, hey.
Oh, don't make me start coughing.
Yeah.
Her
Except
too.
for Miss Kidd, but she didn't get along with anybody. So, anyway, do I hear a motion or any further discussion?
I move that we install a drive-through window for the vehicle registration office, and I propose that we go with the drawer with the bulletproof glass on the top of it.
I second that. I second that. So a motion been made by Commissioner Wilson to approve the installation of the drive-through window with the bulletproof feature and the drawer, second by County Judge Massengill. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion is unanimously. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Now.
Camera out.
Now, item number 2, consider and take appropriate action to approve the purchase of 130 dual band 700 VHF Harris radios to be provided to the 9 fire departments. Quoted price is $626,743. We got Jeff Young, the fire marshal here. Yes, sir.
Judge, Commissioners, I'd actually like to ask to have this tabled for a court down the road. I understand there's some more discussion and points of interest we'd like to have on this, so I'd like to wait to have this request on after we've had a workshop.
Okay.
I will make a motion that we table this and schedule a workshop at a later date to also involve the fire departments to come for justification also.
Yes, sir.
Second.
Motion been made by Commissioner Wilson to table this motion. Let us have a workshop to include the volunteer fire department, second by Commissioner Eagle. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 5-0 to table this motion.
Thank you.
And then to have a workshop, so future date, include all the fire departments so we can make a good decision.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you still on. Item number 3, usage update for the Hood County Mobile Command Vehicle. This is for public information only, and no action is required. Yep.
Yes, sir. I'd like to start by saying no one has asked me to do this. This is something that I have asked to do myself. I usually sit back in the back of the room, and we get to hear all the comments that we cannot address. And so there have been some comments that have been made and some things that have been brought up that I wanted to clear the air. First off, social media is evil, so I don't spend a lot of time on Facebook and all of that stuff to address these via social media, because I don't like to get baited into arguments on social media. I've heard it called antique, old, antiquated, broke down, not running. None of those are true. In fact, last Commissioner's Court, the reason I wasn't sitting in the back is I was driving the vehicle at the time to go get the registration and inspection done. For those people that don't understand what a command vehicle is for, It's not for distributing water, as I've heard some people have suggested we should do with it. It's not going to make every scene. The idea behind a command vehicle is if you have an incident that expands beyond 12 hours or 24 hours and has the potential to go longer, that's when you're going to have your command vehicle deployed. It has been deployed approximately 8 times already so far. It's scheduled for another event. I've heard people say that the command vehicle was not at the Big L fire, and that picture there up on the screen illustrates that it was there. In fact, it was there within an hour of the event happening and stayed there till well after 1 o'clock in the morning. The only reason it didn't remain on scene is because the scene was now 8 miles away from where we were located. So in talking to Commissioner Andrews, who still has a tie with Lipan Fire Department, we had elected that the check-in for the following day and all the people that were coming back to work that fire would report back to the Lipan Fire Station. Where this event started, the closest fire station was Toller, which was still probably 5 or 6 miles from where we were deploying assets. So a command vehicle, when it's deployed, our primary job is to support the fire departments or the police department or the sheriff's office or EMS or whichever department needs it to get them the assets, the manpower, and the materials that they need to perform their tasks. So if you think about your standard structure fire, it's not going to go beyond 12 hours. Ordinarily, we can support that and take care of what we need from a vehicle or a command truck, not necessarily a command vehicle. So it has been an asset that we have used. It continues to improve every day. In fact, for those of you, anyone that would like to see it, it is parked right outside, and we'll have an open house when we're done. But I just wanted to clear the air. The command vehicle, I have asked for comparisons. This that I distributed to y'all earlier, if you go to the back pages, there was a comparison that I was given for another truck that is similar to ours that came with a price tag of $2.8 million. I think the deal that we got on this one was quite a deal. In fact, I would compare it to a unicorn, because when I found this, it basically was one of those things that when you found it and looked at it and pulled it up, it was one of those things that appeared to be too good to be true. Like, I didn't believe that this vehicle would be available for what we paid for it in the first place, and I had multiple conversations with the gentleman who had it. The lifespan of this vehicle, the FBI had asked to have 8 of these vehicles built. 7 of those vehicles were in deployment. This particular vehicle was used as a trainer in their Salt Lake City office. So it basically moved from their storage facility to the parking lot so that they could train FBI people on how to use a command vehicle. That was the reason why the hours and the miles were so low. So for us to find that vehicle in the condition it's in, I've got fewer miles on the truck that I bought fewer miles on that vehicle than I have on the truck that I use here as my fire marshal vehicle, and it's not but 2 years old. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I know there's been a lot of stuff, and ordinarily the comments that are made on social media sites have to be brought to my attention because I don't do social media. The only reason I update the burn bans on Facebook is because my admin made me do it. But anybody that cares to see that vehicle, it's parked outside and we can do an open house, and you're welcome to get in it and look around it, crawl under it if you like. But I just wanted to make that update.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
All right. Ms. Samuelson, you wish to address this item? Jeff, would you stay up here in case there's some questions that...
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to thank you for doing this. I didn't realize you had asked it to be put on the agenda. Just wanted to let you know that I had also asked for this to be put on the agenda last year, and I had emailed Commissioner Cotton to put it on the agenda, and he replied that it didn't belong on the agenda because it's requesting
Do you realize that the items you are requesting are public record and there's no action items? For the court to consider our action taken, in my opinion, it's not appropriate to put on the agenda. So apparently there's been a change of heart, and I really appreciate that because, as he has said,
I've got to interrupt you. That's not true. What you asked for is you wanted miles, you wanted all the data. He's not giving us data. He's giving us what they're using the vehicle for. If you'd have asked for that, but you asked for how many miles, how many hours did you use it?
Here's my request.
Yep.
I asked for, I'd like to add the below agenda item to Commissioner's Court for March 9th. The status on the recent purchase of the Mobile Safety Command Center, including date the command center became property of the Hood County, any and all expenses related to repairs, maintenance, and upgrades, and any and all deployments, which you didn't cover all of that. Maybe you can next time. I think that, as you said.
But Nanette, all those records are still there. You can get them through public records.
And I have.
Okay,
But that's just for me. And as he said, putting it out on social media is not the best way to do it. It's better if it comes from the court, and it's more transparent if it comes from the court to let people know the use of their taxpayer money and what it's being used for. So I appreciate you coming up and clearing the air. And if you would like to come up at another date, maybe sometime next year would be great, to come up and discuss what, as far as I know, and this is a little old, so you may have an update, the current expenses, including the purchase and the upgrades, but this didn't include the radios because those weren't installed at the time I asked, was $212,349. So that's probably changed because this was the last time I asked. So there were some radios that were going to be installed after this request. And at the time, there had been 4 deployments. Well, actually, it was from August 2021 through November, it was getting the short fix. So there was a period of time where it was unavailable, getting the short fixed. And so I think it's great to do open records requests, but then again, it just comes to the one person that asked for the open records request instead of being transparent to the county and letting people know where their tax money is being used and how this vehicle is being used in helping the county. So thank you.
Let me just ask a question. All the people that are in law enforcement, all the first responders, I'm talking about the various 9 volunteer fire departments, the sheriff's department, the emergency management office that we have. Has everybody agreed that this has been a great asset and a great value for Hood County?
Yes, sir. And for anybody that goes out to look at it, you may notice that there is a department logo from the sheriff's office, the police department, the fire marshal's office, emergency management, and EMS. It's been made available to any department that needs it at any time. The times that we have had it deployed, most people get in like, wow, this is way more than what I expected. But it is available. In fact, we have, one of the things that we identified during the Big L while it was there was a need for staffing. And so between myself and the sheriff, we have been talking to different members of each agency, and we have, I believe it's the end of August, there is an ICS 300 and 400 class that's scheduled, and we are putting together a cadre of staff members that when the bus is deployed, they would be on call as a command staff, say, for a quarter. And so anytime in that 3 months, if that vehicle gets deployed, those staffing people also get deployed. So one of the concerns is you don't necessarily want a bunch of hose draggers working your SWAT call out, and at the same time, you don't want a bunch of SWAT guys working a fire. So there's basically going to be 2 separate cadres, or 2 cadres that are cross-trained, so that when it gets deployed, it comes with staffing, and we're not having to go out there and pull people off a truck or out of a vehicle or out of a SWAT lineup or whatever to go and actually work this deployment. That being said, and one thing I meant to mention, when we had it deployed at Big L, we had a PIO officer from the city of Granbury. We had a PIO officer from the Texas Forest Service. We had law enforcement that was coordinating 4 or 5 agencies. They had the sheriff's office, the PD, Somerville County SO, and DPS were coordinating where they were going, what roads were being closed, what areas were being evacuated. You had Texas EMS there. Myself and Mike Stafford were both there. We were talking to aircraft, both privately owned and Forest Service aircraft, getting size-ups and deploying assets and vehicles to different places from there, and we were running water command. So the vehicle was staffed. We were working through all the problems that were presented. We did have some radio issues, and that comes back to what we've just tabled and we're going to talk about later. But the vehicle itself and having the ability to run command in a unified location is, in my line of work and what we do, is priceless. And I would venture to say, and I don't make a habit of putting words in people's mouths, but I'm sure law enforcement and EMS and any other agency that needs that vehicle would probably share that same sentiment.
I would like to bring one other thing up. When you first found this unicorn, as you say,
yes, sir,
and brought it to Commissioner's Court, I recall distinctly, in fact, I went and pulled the agenda back, because I've been accused of me buying it as my recreational vehicle, me personally.
Right.
And at that time, do you recall what the deadline was that we had to either purchase it, put our bid in, to tell this person we would take it at this price of, I think it was $195,000 or $200,000, and we had until 5 o'clock that afternoon, that day of Commissioner's Court, to either purchase it at that time with only 3 commissioners present, or we would lose it. Is that correct? Would you explain that?
So I'd been having a conversation with the guy for almost a week at that point, and when I explained to him how our county government worked and that it needed to go through Commissioner's Court and all of that stuff, I asked him if he could hold on to it until I was able to give him a yes or no. I told him the date of the Commissioner's Court, and he said, I will give you until 5 o'clock that day, but just know I have 2 other agencies that I'm in discussion with right now that are wanting to buy the same vehicle. So he agreed, and I believe on the quote that he sent me at the time said that there was a hold on it until 5 o'clock that day, and that was the day that Commissioner's Court was taking place.
That's right. And you brought it up and you said that. So we had, and I personally would like for a purchase of that size to be able to have a full court. But we didn't have that luxury, did we?
No, sir.
And
I
there were 3 commissioners.
I believe it was Commissioner Wilson and Commissioner Andrews both had to go to commissioner training or something in Austin.
They call it stay out of jail.
Yes, sir.
School. So they had to be at this, huh?
That was a mandatory class.
That was a mandatory course that they had to go to. So
and so, truth be known, and I'm just going to throw this out there, if anyone should be in the crosshairs on the bus, it probably should be me, because I was the salesman on the whole thing to the court.
Well, I can't tell you the number of times I've been ridiculed and abused for saying that that was my purchase and that I bought it. And the only time I've ever been in it was when it was used as a vehicle to help with all the inoculations at the school administration building that was used for that event as well.
Yes, sir.
And that vehicle was purchased and presented to the Commissioner's Court. We had a quorum of 3 commissioners, and it was passed with Commissioner Cotton and myself voting to purchase it at that price, and Commissioner Eagle voting not to purchase it at that price. So as you sit here today, since that purchase, can you unequivocally tell all the citizens of Hood County, was that an excellent decision to purchase that command vehicle?
Yes, sir. And I wouldn't have come to ask if it wasn't.
I have one more question for you.
Yes,
Did you have any conversations with the other commissioners prior to that court, even though they weren't here?
Yes, sir.
Could you expand on what your conversation was with those commissioners? And
well, again, I don't make it a point to put words in others' mouths, but from the commissioners that I spoke to, I felt like there was a favorable outcome.
That both of them
They just weren't here to vote on it.
Correct. And so just as a point of interest, the vehicle that we replaced, I believe, was an old FEMA trailer that we got from the Texas Forest Service that had a power generator mounted on the back of it that only started about 1 out of every 6 attempts. There was no heater in it whatsoever. The air conditioner worked sometime. In fact, the only heater that was ever in it was one that I went to Walmart and purchased when we used it for stock show security up there and had to huddle around this little electric heater that would continually blow the breakers. And on top of that, we had to borrow a truck from road ops to be able to pull it, because at the time, my office didn't even have a vehicle big enough to pull that trailer. So the command vehicle that we had prior to this was an old, used travel trailer that was not very functional. I think the only thing that made it a command vehicle was that we put 2 mobile radios inside it. It had a fax machine that sat in there on a desk that had no phone line connected to it and no way to use it in the first place.
Ms. Samuelson, do you accept Fire Marshal Young's explanation
My
about the...
point today was just to say
No, ma'am,
thank you
I'm
for
just
being-
asking you a question. Do you think today, after hearing all of this, that you're going to come and be a commissioner come January 1 of 2023? You think it was a good purchase? Would you have, knowing what you know now, would you have voted to purchase this vehicle?
My point today was just to thank you
So you're
for
not
putting
going to
it on the
answer?
agenda.
No, you're not going to answer that question, are you?
When I was here, okay, so my objection to the way it was purchased was that it was not in the budget, and I said that day. It wasn't in the budget, and the exception of it being an emergency, I didn't agree with. There were certain things that other commissioners said that day that I agreed with, as far as it not being an valid exception. So we have it now, and we should be using it, and we should let the public know what it's being used for and that we're using it. So whether or not it needed to be purchased, I didn't know. I hadn't spoken with him before. I just came to the court that day and saw that there was something on the agenda that wasn't in the budget, and it was a big expense, and that was my concern that day.
So with all that explanation, knowing what Jeff Young has just testified to and the connections that he made with all the commissioners, and that the deadline we were under that 2 other agencies were trying to buy, would you, if you had been sitting on the court at that time, voted to have purchased the vehicle?
I would have asked a lot more questions, and so that would have been my answer. We needed to go by the process and make sure that we're following the law. So if we follow the law and know what we're doing,
We
then
did.
we didn't.
Was it a single source?
The exception, I'm not sure the exception was correct, so.
Well, it has been
Anyway,
brought up, and it was...
Was that a single source purchase?
We have purchased it now.
It was a single source purchase.
We
There was
have-
a complaint from the court. Why did you put it out to bid? Because there's nothing to bid against. That's a single source, one of a kind, nothing else like it that you could bid on.
And I'll tell you
And
one thing.
so legally,
if
we
it
did-
saves one life, one first responder's life, one Hood County citizen's life, it's like Chief Young just said, it's priceless.
Okay, as I said,
Thank
my
you very
objection
much.
was that it wasn't in the budget. If we needed it, and we knew we needed it, why didn't we know we needed it in the summer before, when it was
It
budget
wasn't
time?
available then. We had...
No, a vehicle of that nature,
Time's up.
of that vehicle of that nature. So if we needed a vehicle of that nature, we should have known, so.
Becky, sounds like you were
You're
wanting to
being
talk.
dismissed.
Okay, thank you.
I want to clarify the transparency. I understand, Nanette, but the thing is, every purchase that we make, everything is on a check register that's put online, everything. I know there's been some complaints about the people who receive the CARES money, about their name being out there on social media. Your name was already out there. When we wrote you the check, your name was out there. That's just transparency in county business. If you needed this money and you got it, more power to you. I'm proud that we could do that for some of these citizens. If it's caused them some hurt, I'm sorry. CARES money is completely on the website. ARPA money is completely on the website. It is there. It will be updated monthly. We are going to be as transparent as we can, and I'm about to put Fund 55 money out there too, so there's no questions on what anybody's doing, because you gentlemen work hard to take care of this community, and there shouldn't be any questions on how you spend the money. Anybody have any questions? Oh, and the other thing, a forensic audit on Fund 101, I don't know how much more that our outside auditors could have done. You have an expense, you have a purchase order, and you write a check. And that's what they looked at. There's nothing else to check. And we passed the audit with flying colors, so bring it on.
Good deal. Thank you, Ms. Kidd. Okay, this goes to item number...
If I may.
Yes.
Actually, two other points I'd like to make. One is that all the time that I've been employed at the Fire Marshal's office, going back to when Brian Fine was Fire Marshal, Ray was Fire Marshal, all that, I have asked years and years and years before about replacing that trailer that we had before. And it wasn't until this came up and the stars aligned, I guess, that it was even available. And the second thing I'd like to point out, and this is just another point of interest, just because you don't see it on Facebook doesn't mean it didn't happen. I don't make it a habit of taking pictures of vehicles and incidents and posting them on Facebook to show that this person or that vehicle or this thing was at a fire. Because if we're at an incident with that vehicle, we have a job to do, and that job does not include taking pictures to post to Facebook. So my office is open 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. If you ever have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer it. You can send me an email. I'd be happy to reply. But if you don't see it on Facebook, it doesn't mean that it didn't happen. I just want to make that last point.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief. Okay, item number 4, discuss and take appropriate action to approve the City of Granbury's event application for Memorial Day weekend. We have the application here. We've all done it. It's got the insurance. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make that motion.
A motion been made by Commissioner Eagle to approve the City of Granbury's event application for Memorial Day weekend.
Since it's what, 3 days from now.
Second by Commissioner Wilson. Any further discussion? All those in favor of supporting our veterans who gave their lives for our country, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries unanimously, 5-0. Okay, item number 5, discuss and take appropriate action to approve the request of Constable Precinct 2 to purchase a new 2022 Ford F-150 XLT crew cab four-wheel drive pickup not to exceed $59,000. Constable Shirley.
Yes, Judge and Commissioners, thank you for this meeting with me this morning. I have 2 vehicles in my fleet. One is a 2007 Ford Crown Vic. It has 97,000 miles. It's 15 years old. For the last 2 years, it's taken most of my vehicle budget to just keep it on the road. I have a 2017 Chevrolet pickup truck that unfortunately also has endemic problems that I inherited when I was appointed. It has electrical issues. I'm hoping to replace the older vehicle and have my newer vehicle repaired and used for my reserves, which have a very active reserve program, and I would appreciate you approving the new vehicle for my use. If there's any questions, I'll be glad to answer them. I did email all of you about a week ago asking for questions, and to my knowledge, I did not receive any, but I'm welcome to answer them now.
Okay. We have one speaker, Ms. Samuelson.
Oh, I was going to mention this earlier. I don't know, just a correction. 2 weeks from now is June 7th, and the next Commissioners Court is June 14th. So I don't know if that means you need to change anything about that other issue, but just wanted to bring that to your attention. So again, thank you for the time to speak today on this important topic. As I've stated before, when spending taxpayer money on vehicles, safe and reliable should be the criteria, not necessarily new. I talked extensively to Constable Shirley about this purchase and asked him why now and why new. So as he explained, his current vehicle has electrical issues that cause his emergency sirens and lights to not work intermittently. This causes safety issues for the constable. He mentioned that there was a point in time when he was on 377 late at night in the dark and had to push another vehicle off the road, and his lights weren't working. That put his life at risk. The fix would take several days to fix that electrical issue, or up to a week. His backup vehicle, as he said, is the 15-year-old Crown Vic, and it's used by his reserve officers. It has reliability issues of its own. Constable Shirley explained that as far as he is aware, there's not a certified pre-owned program for emergency vehicles. And if there were, at the point in time we are, used vehicles, especially used trucks, are extremely expensive and sometimes more expensive than a new and wouldn't have the warranty. So after this discussion, as a citizen of Precinct 2 and Commissioner-elect for Precinct 2, I support this plan to ensure the safety of the constable and his reserve officers and the citizens of Precinct 2 that they proudly serve. So thank you.
Any other comment or question? Do I hear an appropriate motion?
A couple of questions first. In the bid, it shows that you're getting a black pickup rather than white like all the other constables and then all the other pickups that's been purchased this year. Any particular reason why?
When I put the request into purchasing, I told them that I would be happy with either, and I know there's an issue with getting vehicles with any serious specifics, and so my opinion is I will take whatever they have to build, because there is an issue getting police vehicles right now.
No argument with that, because with the sheriff's department is getting some black ones also.
Okay.
I'm just asking if that was a special request or if that's just a matter of...
I told them I had a
getting-
preference, but I would be happy with either.
Okay.
Yes, this particular vehicle has not been manufactured yet, and I believe it can be, the color can be either white or black. When it was ordered ordered as black, but that can be changed if that's the desire.
That's not a problem. I'm looking at, when I look at the documents, that's what it shows. And the others that we bought for the constables and the DA's office were all white, if best I remember. Now, the sheriff's department was getting 6 black vehicles, best I remember.
Yes. I believe Constable 2's may be different. Is what they had in the bid that they submitted. Gray? Okay.
It's a good compromise.
Gray could be ordered as well.
Not an issue, just, something that, to make sure everybody understands.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Have you got a fund, Ms. Kidd, on the...
Any further discussion? If not, do I hear a motion?
Judge, I'll make the motion to approve the request for Constable Precinct 2 to purchase a new 2022 Ford F-150 XLT crew cab four-wheel drive pickup not to exceed $59,000.
Second.
Okay. Commissioner, okay, the motion been made by Commissioner Cotton to approve the purchase of a new vehicle for Precinct 2, second by both Commissioner Wilson and Commissioner Eagle. So I guess it's a second and a third. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries 5-0 unanimously.
Thank you, Court. Thank you, Judge.
All right. Item number 6, discuss and take appropriate action to request the county judge to sign a charter communications contract for a primary circuit at our backup data center. Mr. Drew Whitaker.
Gentlemen, years ago, when, of course, I came to the court asking to build a backup data center in case anything happened to our main data center. Of course, going through this process, we are now to the point where we can actually make it a true hot site in case we do lose our primary group of servers. And of course, this would be the primary circuit for that backup data center. And of course, the next item would be the backup circuit for that data center. It is already budgeted, both of them, so the money is there. I just need to get it signed and put in.
Okay, good deal. Any further questions or comments? Do I hear a motion?
I move that we authorize the county judge to sign the charter communications contract for a primary circuit at our backup data center.
Second.
A motion been made by Commissioner Wilson to authorize the county judge to sign the charter communications contract for a primary circuit at the backup data center. It's second by Commissioner Eagle. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Motion carries 5-0. Brings you to your next item. So you got to have
a backup
center.
A backup circuit to the primary circuit. Of course, again, this would be the backup circuit in case the primary circuit on the backup data center fails. Of course, again, it's all budgeted. Everything's there. Just need to put it in.
Okay. Good deal. Do I hear appropriate motion?
I'll make the motion, the county judge to sign AT&T contract for backup internet circuit at our backup data center.
Again, this is you're very popular, Mr. Whitaker. So a motion been made by Commissioner Eagle to request the county judge to sign the AT&T contract for a backup internet circuit at the backup data center. Second and third by both Commissioner Wilson and Commissioner Andrews. So any further question or comment? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, gentlemen.
5-0.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Whitaker. Okay, item number 9. Oh, yeah, 8, excuse me. Excuse me, update for the Hood County Driver's License Office. This is for public information only, and no action will be taken. And
Good morning again.
Yeah, looky here. Hello,
Hi.
Andrea,
I just wanted
please.
to give you an update on the 4 weeks that it's been opened. It has actually gone exceedingly well. We've had about 15 to 20 transactions a day, but we are given about 35, 40 people coming in for information, which is wonderful. It's taken a lot off of Toller. Toller actually called me and said that they are starting to send over all their walk-ins to us.
Good.
They did. They actually
Good.
called and said they're doing this. We've had people come from League City, Dallas area, Denton, Decatur, Austin. We've had them come, I mean, they're coming from all over. It's not just helping our county now, it's actually helping more people, plus all of our surrounding counties. About 50% of them we're having to send to the county clerk's office to get birth certificates. And then they come back, so it's bringing a little more revenue in for the county as well, over in the county clerk's office. We've had more positive feedback than I really anticipated. I really thought people were not going to be too happy for some of the reasonings, the times or whatnot, but it has just gone phenomenal. We've worked it out with the auditor and the treasurer about where the money and the reports are going to be done, and it's actually done very well. I mean, it's really nice. People come in and say, "Where's it at?" We're like, right next door. So I just wanted to give you an update on it.
I have to say that was a brainchild of Commissioner Wilson.
I know.
When he proposed it to me, I said, you know, it sounds like a good idea, but I'm like you. I've had a bunch of citizens come up to me and say, thank you, thank you,
They
thank you.
have.
It's been and I've had not one negative complaint. Okay.
No. And with Toller calling and telling us they're taking them, we're just sending all of y'all our walk-ins. I was like, thank you for the heads up.
Yeah.
I will let them know next door.
Good.
So, yeah, it's done very
Thank y'all
good.
for working that out. That's very good.
I just
Ms.
wanted to give you an
Samuelson, you
update.
want to speak on this also?
I just have 2 questions. I thought you might cover them. So, one question, are there any driver's license related services that someone still has to go to Toller, or is it?
Oh, yes, because we don't do CDLs, we don't do driving tests. This is renewals, address, and name changes only.
Okay, and is there at a point in time when the state will staff this, or is it currently staffed by?
After what has to happen, okay, this is a county-run facility at this point, county employees. The Texas legislators meet January of 2023. Once they approve the budget for a full staffing of an 8-staff full-service facility that'll be located tentatively right now at James Road and Highway 4, when the new appraisal district office goes in, there's on the architect plans, calls for that facility to be built for an 8-station DPS facility, and it will become a full service. At that time, the 2 county employees will either possibly go to work for the state, or they'll, other, business, other jobs in the county.
Okay, so it may or may not happen, and I guess it's up to the
All
legislature's
indications, in
approval.
talking with Senator Birdwell's office, we're talking with Shelby Slauson's office, we're talking with Glenn Rogers' office, yes, it's going to happen.
Okay, so would it help if citizens called their legislator and asked them to approve it, or not?
It has to be, the legislators have to approve the funding for DPS for that office.
Okay, and then, so if I get a request in the mail that says, at this time, you can't renew your driver's license online, you have to go in person, I can go to here and not to Toller? Yep. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
And, the state still wants people to schedule.
Yes.
She still wants people to schedule, but at the same time, they're not, refusing walk-ins either. They just don't have the higher priority if there's somebody with a scheduled appointment right there also.
Okay. So, thanks.
Okay, thank you. That's very good. That's a very good report. All right, item number 9, consider and take appropriate action regarding property insurance deductible for 2022-2023 year. Ms. Welburn.
Yes, good morning, Court. You all received a copy of this deck page last week. The reason I asked TAC to do this is I thought we might have some options regarding our deductible with the renewal. I told you in my email, my recommendation is to keep our policy as is. Nothing is changing with our policy. Y'all approved it during the budget process last year. But I wanted you to be aware that there are options as far as deductibles go. And then down at the bottom, you can see the difference in the proposal amount.
Okay.
I just wanted some direction on the court's decision on which deductible to accept.
Based upon your opinion, do you have an opinion as to what the court should do?
Like I said in my email, I recommend we keep our plan as is with the $5,000 deductible.
Well, I have to agree with you, because if you look down at the difference in premiums, it's pretty much covered, so.
It does.
It's kind of a no-brainer.
I agree.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, thank you,
All
Ms.
right.
Welburn.
Thank
Do I
you.
hear a motion?
I'll make the motion to keep the deductible as we presently have in our contract.
Second.
A motion been made by Commissioner Cotton to keep the deductible as is, second by Commissioner Eagle. Any further comment or question? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously,
Thank
5-0.
you.
Thank you, Ms. Welburn. Okay, that brings us to our last item, number 10. Discuss and take appropriate action to waive the county application fees to grant a new expiration date on expired permit 13242 for OSSF at 1931 Portsacall Drive. Ms. Jeannie Stacks.
I'm just going to say, if you're bringing all that up here for this one item, we're going to need a break.
That's right.
These are all of the expired contracts from 2020 to date that have not reapplied and been issued a new permit.
Gotcha.
This is a permit from 10/27 of 2020 that was actually on sewer. The builder did not realize that when they applied for it, but it states on our contract that OSSF permits will expire 1 year from date issued. All related fees are non-refundable and shall be paid by personal check, cashier's check, money order, or cash. So therefore, this lady didn't get her money back. The property at 1931 Portsacall pulled a permit 9/14 of 2020. There was an existing structure and a Brazos River Authority permit for the property that was issued in 1973. So there was an existing structure that they were remodeling, and from my understanding, the people run into some issues. But the state of Texas 285.3D says an authorization to construct is valid for 1 calendar year from the date of issuance. If the installer does not request a construction inspection by the permitting authority within 1 year of the issuance of the authorization to construct, the authorization to construct expires and the owner will be required to submit a new application and application fee before an OSSF can be installed.
Okay, so yeah, what happened here is he just, in the middle of the construction, ran into some trouble and asked, I've already paid the money, absolutely nothing has changed, can I resubmit the application and just not have to pay the fees again for the permit? And now with the state portion of it, which I believe is $10, is that correct?
Yes, we have to turn it in per the state. The state
Right.
gets $10 out of every one of the $410 permits that we collect.
Right, and Ms. Stacks and I have had this conversation, and absolutely nothing has changed in this deal other than the dates. So what I'm asking for is that we waive the fees when he resubmits the application with updated information.
My
So
question is, if we waive that fee, what are we going to do with these?
I would say if they've paid the fee and they come ask for it, have an explanation for it.
What's the dollar value of what's there if you waive the fees on those?
It's $400 per, right?
400 times, looks like,
It's roughly $20,000 worth of permits right there.
We're setting a precedence if we waive the fee.
Yes, sir.
if you waive the fee for one, you could be setting precedent?
Yes,
Where
sir.
our attorney's at, he left.
Right here, the note on this is they're applying for a new permit.
Yeah.
Well, I don't see anything wrong with a case-by-case basis. I don't see how this sets if we look at each case on a case-by-case basis, and it's the same exact circumstances, I think it behooves us.
My question on that, sir, would be, if we had an existing structure, why didn't he go ahead and have the new system installed? It was a lot of these are new homeowner bills. The subdivision requires that they pull a septic system permit before they can start construction.
Well, what he explained to me is during the pandemic and everything, he had some job situations come about and just couldn't get it done in time. Again, it's a fee that he's already paid. It doesn't change anything on our end at all.
The only thing they have to do is just re-sign and submit a new permit.
Yeah.
Because the design and everything is still fine. It's just the state says that the permit expires in 1 year.
That's a state law? That's a
Yes.
state?
It's
So if it-
yes,
I just don't understand if there's a law, why don't we obey the law?
Well, it's not, that's not the question. It's not a question of whether they have to resubmit the application. The question is whether we collect the permit fees again. Yes, they would resubmit the application. My contention is they've already paid $400. Absolutely nothing's changed about this, what is required of us to come out and inspect it, everything else. It's the same plan. It's just,
Is he willing to pay the $10 to send to the?
yes, yeah. That's that part with the state fee,
When they reapply, you got to go back out and do your thing again, and inspect it, make sure it doesn't change.
Well, nothing's happened yet.
Yeah, this one, nothing has happened yet other than the office process the permit.
Yeah. So there's no additional work on us or anything. It's just.
What's your opinion, should we do this or should we not, given the fact that we've got other ones there? I mean, you're the one that's going to have to do the work or plan it or whatever. You tell us.
Well, each one of these are in our system. And some of them will never be paid. Some of them, the people change their minds. Actually, and I couldn't tell you which two, the gentleman applied for the permit because that was the rule for Canyon Creek. The gentleman sold the 2 lots to the neighbors because they didn't want them to be built on. But that gentleman, he lost the $410. And those lots will never be built on as long as the people that own them, because they bought them to keep from having a neighbor. But our office currently is having to go out, and we do actually do an initial inspection of these properties, for the most part. So we're not having to do that again, but we're having to generate all of the paperwork again. And we turn this back into the state, because each month the state asks for permits, so we are, we have to fill out the report for the state. So the county wouldn't be initially out $410, but, you know, the gentleman that installed his own, as he was building his home, that pulled 3 permits, because it took him over 3 years to get the system complete. He was out $1,230. I mean, are we setting precedents for all of these to come in? Because at this point in time, there are shortages on supplies for installs. So if we allow this, then we may be allowing a whole lot more.
But yeah, do we really want to punish somebody who can't get the supplies and make them pay another $400? I mean, this almost seems to me as if it's analogous to if somebody had a gift card that expired in a year, the business, huh?
Probably wouldn't be any good, would it? Got an expiration date on it.
Yeah, so I mean, it's like, it seems to me that it's kind of similar to that situation. They've already paid the money, they haven't gotten anything for it. I would be fine with waiving the fees. These things have already been paid. And for somebody to come at it as an individual basis and ask for that, you know, I wouldn't have a problem with it.
At what point do you say there should be a cutoff?
I don't know as though ever, if we haven't provided a service, now they would have to come in and redo the application for sure. If there was something that significantly changed on our end of it, sure. But, you know, that's my feeling on it is, dang it, I don't want my gift card to expire.
Well, here's another thing. Ms. Kidd has just told us that she had to make a line item transfer for $100,000 for fuel that the county's going to have to buy because of the price increase. You know, this is just today's economy, you know, the supply and demand on the deal. You know, I'm kind of afraid about this. How about just the work that your additional office is going to do? Word gets out that you can come back, like the guy that had to get 3 because it took him 3 years, who spent $1,200. You know, the law's the law. If you don't finish within that period of time, I understand what Commissioner Andrews is saying, but then again, if you make one exception, you're going to have to make them all, and then you're going to have to look at every permit. That's a lot of money and a lot of extra work. I don't know. I guess we're going to have to just take a motion and decide.
All right, well, I'll make a motion that we waive the county application fees to grant a new expiration date to accept a new permit application, waive the fees for expired permit 13242 for on-site sewage facilities at 1931 Ports of Call Drive.
I'll second that.
A motion has been made by Commissioner Andrews to waive the fee on a specific piece of property, second by Commissioner Key. Any further discussion? Okay. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say the same as aye.
Aye.
Motion fails 3-2. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it at 11:30.